Three Dolphins. We got a blue too.
So Tim, what made you decide to come to Masters Academy?
Well, that's a good question. You know, just in everything that I'm dealing with now, you got so many days that you don't have free time to really do what you want, and there's so many days throughout the year where you can kind of pick and choose. And everything that I try to do it with great people. You know, why I chose to go to the University of Florida, was for Coach Meyer. Why I chose my agent, because he was a man of integrity. And so just dealing with the people here at Masters, you could see that they were top-notch people. And that was something that was exciting, because you could tell I had no idea. 5 o'clock and I was going to tell the world, but I had no idea. I had it narrowed down to 5 schools. I had it narrowed down to Florida, Alabama, LSU, Michigan, and Southern Cal. And so, I sat down and I was thinking, out of these 5 schools, who can I narrow off? And I thought, well, SC, I like the coaches. They're winning, but it's just so far away. And, I'll narrow them off. And then Michigan, I like the coaches, but honestly, the girls there are just not near as pretty. So I'm going to narrow them out too. And so, I got Florida, Alabama, and LSU. And, so I was like, all right, I want to talk to them each one more time. And so the next day, on the 13th, we had LSU come in. And they spent about 4 or 5 hours, their final sales pitch, and, all the bells and whistles, and, blah, blah, blah. But I really like Jimbo Fisher, who now took the job at FSU. So, I don't know what to think about that. But, I really liked him, and he was very exciting. And so, I was like, well, that's a great school, and I think he'd be a great quarterback coach, but, I'm not sure. And then Florida came in that night and spent about 4 or 5 hours, stayed till about midnight, and they left, and, they brought all their bells and whistles too. And there was something special about, this new coach that had only been there 1 year, named Urban Meyer, and there was something special about our relationship, and you could just see his passion, his love, and just something in his eyes. And you believed in him, and it was very unique. And so that was pretty cool. And then they left the next day. Alabama came in, and they literally spent like 13 hours in our house. They had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every snack in between. We even went, because my mom was sick of cooking, so for dinner that day, we went to Cracker Barrel, like right down the street. So that's where we had our fancy final dinner. But that was a lot of fun, and I loved Alabama. I loved their passion. If any of you have seen me play, you know that I'm very passionate about what I do, and they're extremely passionate. And I had a lot of friends playing there, and it was also something that was exciting to me. Hey, I could go to this school who had been a great school, had won a bunch of national championships, and I could be a big reason why they came back to prominence. And so that was something that was very exciting for me, and I'm a very ambitious person, so that was something that I was like, hey, that would be pretty cool. And so they left, and that night, we sat down, and I sat down with my brothers, my sisters, and my mom and dad, and I was like, guys, I got 3 great schools, and honestly, I have no idea, where I should go. And I kind of already know that Florida and Alabama were my top 2, so I was like, I think, even though I like Jimbo Fisher, I think I can narrow him out, and I can narrow LSU out. And so I called him, told him I'm not coming to LSU, and he was gracious about it. And so I narrowed them out. And so then I sit back down, and I'm like, we got 2 great schools, and I have no idea where to go. Like, Mom, Dad, y'all have always given me great advice. Where do you think I should go? And Mom and Dad are like, your whole life, you've made great decisions. We really believe you're going to make another one. So I'm like, thanks, that's a lot of help. And I asked my brothers and sisters, and I'm like, guys, where do you think I should go? And they're like, Timmy, you always do the right thing. You're going to do the right thing again. I promise you're going to make a great decision. Come on, you're supposed to be like, you're supposed to help me. And I literally have no idea. So my dad's like, listen, just do this. Just, go in your room, pray about it. In the morning, I'm sure, gotta put it on your heart where you're supposed to go. So I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. So I did that. I went and prayed about it. I tried to sleep, and I woke up, and literally, I had no idea where I was supposed to go to college. It was just so agonizing. So I went outside, I took my dog, we walked around all day. I talked to different advisors, I prayed about it, and I still had no inkling at all where I should go. And, you know, I just kept praying. I was like, God, you know, I'm sure you're going to show me. I'm sure you're going to show me. And he didn't. And so it was like 3 o'clock, and I had my press conference at 5. So I go inside, I tap out my speech, and at the end of it, I have next year I'll be playing football for the University of blank. And so I go take a shower, I put on my suit, and I head up to school. And I'm like, you know, I'm going to go up and talk to Coach Howard, my high school coach, and I'm sure he'll help me decide. And so I go up there, and, you know, and I see Coach Howard, give him a big hug, and I'm like, hey, Coach Howard, you know, I've been with you the last 3 years, and you've always given me great advice. Honestly, where do you think I should go? And he says, Timmy, over the last 3 years, you've made great decisions. I said, Coach, that's no help to me. Honestly, I have no idea where I should go. And so then my family gets up there, and I'm talking with them, and I'm literally, it's like 4:15. I'm like, Dad, where should I go? I have no idea. I got to tell the world in 45 minutes where I'm going to school. I'm like panicking. And he's like, just relax, just relax. You know, he says, you know, if you could just pick one person out of everybody, one person that you want to play for more than anybody else, not a school, not a location, not anything else, not an offense, just one person, who would be that one person that you would play for? So I said, that's a good question. And I thought about it, you know, and I really loved Mike Shula, but I was like, you know, there's something special about Urban Meyer. You know, there's something in his eyes, there's something about his passion, about his love for young men, and then also his love for football. And I was like, it would probably be Urban Meyer. He said, there you go. So I was like, that's it. All right, I'm going to go to Florida. and so then I was like, all right, I'm going to call Coach Shula and tell him that I'm not coming to Alabama. So I pick up the phone, and I had a great relationship with him. And honestly, most of my high school career, I figured I was going to go there because, you know, Urban wasn't at Florida, and so, you know, I had a great relationship with him. I picked up the phone, I called him, and I said, hey, Coach Shula, and I got emotional, and I started crying because we were very close, and I said, hey, Coach Shula, you know, I'm so sorry, but, you know, I'm not going to come to Alabama. I think I'm going to go to Florida. And he said, Timmy, stop right there. He said, I love you just as much now as if you came to Alabama. You know, you're going to have a great career, and hopefully I'll coach you someday. And so I hang up the phone, I look at my dad, I'm like, that's the guy I want to play for. I just told him I'm going to a rival, and he said he loves me. And so I was like, holy cow. And I was like, no, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to stick with Florida. So I pick up the phone, you know, to tell Coach Meyer that I'm coming to Florida. And as he tells the story, he's driving in his car because he's ADD and he's so nervous. And he's driving in his car, and, you know, he picks up the phone. And he's like, hey, Timmy, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good, Coach. And I'm like wiping off tears. So he's like, what's going on? Because, you know, he doesn't know if I'm going to tell him I'm coming or not. And so I'm like, hey, Coach, you know, I've decided. And he's like, what's that? And I said, I've decided to. And his phone goes dead. And, I mean, as he tells it, he's so upset. He's punching his dashboard. And he's just so upset. And he's trying to get his BlackBerry plugged back into his car charger so he can get it turned back on. And he can't get it turned on in time because literally they're pushing me on stage, you know, because I got to go out in there and accept this award and tell the world where I'm going, and I don't even know. And so I'm walking on stage, and I go to my dad. I go, you know, I didn't actually tell him I'm going to Florida, so I could still choose Alabama. And so I'm sitting on stage, and it's me, it's my mom and dad, it's my coaches, my brothers and sisters, and, you know, I have one of these on, you know, on ESPN. There's always ESPN guys down there, and so, you know, I'm like, Mom, Dad, I didn't tell him, so honestly, I could still choose Alabama. Where do you think I should go? And the guys down here for ESPN, they're like, what? Is he for real? And so I'm like, you know, honestly, I have no idea. And so the interview starts, and it's still in the back of my mind. I'm trying to think of where I should go and what I'm going to tell this man. And so he's like, you know, he's asking me all these questions, and honestly, I'm not even thinking about the questions. I'm just giving those absolute, just, you know, blah answers, just politically correct, just saying it, you know, just whatever is rehearsed. And I'm not even giving real answers because I'm thinking in the back of my mind where I'm going to school. I have no idea. And so, you know, right before he asked me, you know, I just, you know, I think of Coach Meyer, and his face pops into my mind, and I just think about his passion, his love for the game. So he asked me, and I say, next year I'll be playing football at the University of Florida. And that's kind of how it happened.